In Britain, millions of euros have now been raised for bowel cancer following the death on Tuesday of Deborah James, a leading campaigner for the disease. The 40-year-old former TV presenter's efforts to raise awareness have extended far beyond Britain's shores, however. Let's hear more now from Natalie Hewitt. She's deputy editor of Euronews Next, the future focus section of Euronews.com. Natalie, thanks for joining us again. Deborah James, extremely well known in the UK, perhaps not so well to many of our viewers in Europe and beyond. Tell us more about her.
So, hi, Tokes. Deborah James was a very prominent cancer campaigner in the UK, where for the past 5 years she chronicled her battle with bowel cancer. First on a blog, then in the Sun newspaper, then on a BBC podcast. She had close to 1 million followers on Instagram, where she was known as Bowel Babe. And in May, she announced she would be getting end-of-life care at home. Since then, she's raised nearly 8 million euros for cancer research. She was regularly on the front pages of newspapers, had tea with Prince William, and was honored with a damehood. Very sadly, she passed away this week at the age of 40, leaving behind a husband and 2 teenage children. And tributes have been pouring in from all around the UK, including from the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, who said she was an inspirational and unfalteringly brave woman whose legacy will live on. Deborah James was extremely famous because she talked about cancer in a very frank, humorous, and relatable way, really breaking the taboo around the symptoms of colorectal cancer and constantly calling on people to check their poo. Cancer survivors have actually been thanking her for inspiring them to check for symptoms and for detecting their tumors early enough for them to get treated. So in this respect, campaign groups say that, while very tragically she succumbed to cancer, she's already saved many other lives.
What can we learn from, say, how the UK approaches its treatment of bowel cancer compared to other countries across Europe?
So I think her story really got people to realize that bowel cancer is not just a disease for old people. In fact, researchers estimate that by the end of this decade, it will become the deadliest cancer for people aged 20 to 49. Scientists are still trying to nail the causes of this earlier onset, but what we're seeing now already is that the age for bowel cancer screening is gradually being lowered in the UK. So it's not just being offered to people from the age of 60, but from the age of 50, which is more standard across the EU. The hope is to be able to detect most patients in stage 1 when the disease is easiest to treat and people have the most chances of surviving it. That's already the cases in countries like the Netherlands and Slovenia. They're managing those cases much better. In Deborah James' case, she was diagnosed at stage 3, so detecting her cancer earlier might have changed her fate. And that's why she's been working so hard to, get people to be aware of the symptoms of bowel cancer and discuss them with their doctor if they have any concerns. So that could be a persistent change in your bowel habits, blood in your poo, or abdominal pain. And it's worth noting that the first test for bowel cancer is generally not a colonoscopy, because that might be a bit scary for people. It's actually a very simple test, a stick to take a sample of your feces at home and send it to a lab to see if there's any blood in there, and take further tests if needed. So I'll just finish by repeating Deborah's final message, which was really to raise awareness and check your poo, because it could just save your life.
An extremely important message there. I know you've been carrying out extensive research, much of which we can find details of on Euronews Next. Do check it out if you have a chance. Natalie Hewitt, thanks for joining us.